Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Film Room Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 27. I'm your host, Joe Baress, along with my co-host, Joby Fawcett. Joby, how you doing after a very light weekend? Not a lot going on.
Joe, I am still cranking out information here from the weekend, which I know you are as well. Because what many people may or may not know is, we do the actual coverage of our outstanding championship weekend for athletes in District 2. But then you have to have the follow because all of these kids move on to what is the next round of their postseason. It, of course, now being the state round.
Right.
And so you're doing a lot of research. I was sifting through a lot of swimming data today, Joe.
Oh, wow.
My eyes are sore from the computer.
I believe that. Joby.
We're getting ourselves back going here at 100%, hopefully for the rest of the week. We got a couple of days to kind of get ready for another busy weekend. But boy, last weekend will go down as probably, I think, the most busy weekend that we have had as a staff for a very long time.
I think that's pretty accurate, Joby. It was a hell of a weekend, and it'll continue into this week. But I think that one person that could understand what it's been like going from sport to sport and coverage is our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week, Eva Kaszuba.
Listen, Joe, she's not going to have any sympathy for us.
No, she shouldn't.
Correct.
She participated in 18 sports this weekend.
Correct.
But more accurately, Eva, thanks for joining the show. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Just to let everyone know what Eva did over the weekend, a two-sport standout in swimming and basketball. In the district final for basketball in Class 4A, she had 9.6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals to help the basketball team beat Valley View 52-47 and capture the Classic's 4th straight title and 8 in 9 years. Also at the District 2 Class 2A swimming championship, she won gold in the 100-yard breaststroke, was a part of a couple gold medal winning relays, and also took bronze in the 50-yard freestyle to help Scranton Prep capture the team title over Dallas. Eva, what was this weekend like for you, having to, try to balance these two sports and then come out with ultimately just probably the perfect outcome for you?
Yeah, it was definitely an unbelievable experience. It really did feel unreal to win both, but it was just crazy to see how everything you work for and what your team worked for come together in the end. You come out on top. So it was a pretty great experience.
Eva, you and I spoke before the big weekend. We did a little story and feature on you about how you were able to manage the two varsity sports. And you have, of course, been doing it for the better part of your varsity career. But in basketball, you had played mostly on the JV level. This year, it got much more intense. And even you admitted it was kind of stressful for you at times. So kind of tell everybody your days really are extended because of the early morning swim practices and then deep into the night with basketball. So how did you manage it all?
It definitely took a lot of patience and, being able okay, I have to get up early, go to bed early, and just kind of working around my schedule and just finding ways to when things get really stressful or hard, be able to calm myself down and be okay, you just have to take it step by step. So kind of just being to tell myself it's going to be okay. You got it.
Absolutely. Eva, do you mind just taking us through, just a typical day for you, I guess, just, balancing sports and school and everything. What's a typical schedule look like for you?
Yeah, so I'll wake up around 4:45, get ready, pack my bags for school and basketball. And then I leave the house by 5 to go down to the U for swim practice at 5:30. So we have practice 5:30 to 7. And then we get out, we go to school. So it's school 8:10 to 2:50. Then after that, go to my car, get changed for basketball practice. And then I have basketball practice 3:15 to 5. Then I go home, study for my test, and go to bed for the next day.
So, Eva, that's a schedule that I can't even imagine having to do as a
That's
high
crazy.
school student. I mean, first of all, you have to have incredible discipline. But as you mentioned to me last week, you have to have a great support system. I know your parents are really, really great
Yeah.
in helping you with everything. I mean, there's got to be days when you just say, "Listen, 4:45. Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, there's definitely been some times me and my dad got in a couple arguments, but he's
Hey,
got me
listen,
out of the house, that's for sure.
listen. I mean, I know you a long time. But I know your dad a lot longer. I wouldn't want to get in too many arguments with him.
Oh no, I never win. Never.
Joe, Joe, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Of course, all the time.
Eva's dad, who is a mammoth man, was one of my dearest friends in high school,
Oh, okay.
and he was one of the starting offensive linemen for a couple of running backs who ran for 1,000 yards. He was also a track team captain of mine with me.
Oh, wow.
So he and I are extremely close, and he is a massive man, so I know him quite well.
Absolutely. Eva, just to talk a little bit more about it, how great has it been? What has your family meant to you, and how great has your support system as a whole been, even beyond your family?
Yeah, none of this would be possible without my family and like the support I get from my teammates, coaches, my school community. I give a huge shout out to my parents, taking me everywhere, driving me, coming to every meet and basketball game. I don't think they've missed one since I started. So it's unbelievable to be able to have like so much love and like a great like support system around me.
Eva, so you not only swim and play basketball, and you've been doing multiple sports for a very long time in your childhood here. You play softball, you run track, you play soccer, you were a triathlete. I mean, how did you get so involved in athletics?
I just think as a kid I would never stop. So my parents were kind of just like, oh, like what are we gonna do with her? So they just threw me in a bunch of sports and just been doing that ever since.
That's fantastic. What is it like, transitioning from sport to sport? Obviously, you do you do two at once during the winter, but as Joby mentioned, you're a soccer player, and I believe you do lacrosse as well in the spring. I mean, what is it kind of like transitioning and balancing those sports as well?
Yeah, it's definitely hard because you really feel like you never get a break and you just keep going and going. But like honestly, like the teams and like my friends make me want to go and like keep pushing. So I would say it's easy because I have like something to look forward to every day.
All right, Eva. So Thursday was the start of this madness over the course of the 3-day weekend for you.
Mhm.
And you were part of the big doubleheader at the arena. The first game to start off the 10 games, and your team played terrific. You're playing against your former school and your former teammates at Valley View. What was that like for you? And then, of course, another district championship and a gold medal. I know you were extremely happy.
Yeah, it was, again, a great experience just to be able to do it with the team that I did it with because we had 5 graduating seniors last year and no one really believed in us. So it was great to be able to show that, we might not have those 5 girls, but we could still do it on our own.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, for the basketball team, what did it take this season. What was this whole season like for you guys? Kind of, starting 5 new starters, and, how were you able to develop, grow, and then, again, reach this district title?
Yeah. It was definitely a new opportunity for all of us. None of us have started any game in our life. None of us have played with each other. Yeah, like the juniors, we played with each other on JV, but it's just not the same at like the varsity level and, bringing Chloe in and stuff. So we definitely had to learn how to play with each other, and we definitely had our downs, but they just helped us to grow and become what we are now.
So you win the gold medal on Thursday in basketball, which is a great accomplishment. But you have to kind of shift your focus a little bit because it's a different type of sport you're going to be competing in on Friday and Saturday. And it was also an evening session for you. So you did get a little bit of a rest, but you had to mentally be ready. What was Friday like for you and your teammates? Because you knew going into the first day of the swim championships, you had to be on top of your game because Dallas had built such a big lead in the team standings because of its success in the diving. So tell us a little bit about your mental approach and how happy you were with the way you and the team performed on Friday in swimming.
Yeah, so when we were going into the meet, we already knew we were down 40 points because of diving, and that's hard to get 40 points just like that. So we all knew that we were able to do it and we could do it as long as we believed in ourselves and believed in each other. And I really think the thing that set the tone was our medley relay. I think once we got first in that, like we knew like, okay, like we got this.
Absolutely. What is it? What makes the swim team so successful, and what's it like being a part of the swim community there?
Yeah, so the thing that makes it so special is we only had 10 girls on our team, which is not a lot of girls. So, like we developed such a close bond with each other, and honestly, we're more than just teammates, like we're best friends, sisters, and that really helps improve and build a team to win a district championship like that.
And then on Saturday, Eva, you were able to win the breaststroke, right? And
Yeah.
you had to edge your teammate, Ella Schofield, who's an outstanding swimmer in her own right. Yeah, and so you almost have those inner rivalries within your team, right? So that helps you become a better swimmer. But that's a very challenging stroke for swimmers in high school. How have you come to master it? Because you've been great the last couple of years and 2-time district champion.
Yeah, definitely my underwaters are improving, which are helping me get best times and be able to win races like that. But it's honestly just the hard work and like dedication that I put into all the practices and meets that I go to.
Yeah, absolutely. Eva, what if you have any free time, which it doesn't sound like you have much, what do you do? What do you enjoy doing outside of school, outside of sports?
Yeah, I love going out with my friends. I love going to Target, walking my dog, just activities like with my friends and family.
Absolutely.
Yeah, listen, I just think it's fantastic. Now today, Joe, as I mentioned earlier, I had to sift through the PIAA seeds for the swimming. Now, Eva will have a little bit of time to gather herself and continue what they call the tapering phase of swimming.
Of course.
Because the state championships aren't till 2 weeks. But so you're the number 2 seed in your event and you won a state medal last year. Eva, it's going to be a little bit different for you this year because, now that you're among those top 8 swimmers coming in, things will be a little bit different for you. How are you going to be able to prepare for that this year?
Yeah, I definitely just have to focus on me and make sure that I keep my head straight and my mind clear. I really just have to focus on me and just not give up on myself.
Absolutely. Eva, I see that you're a Penn State, you're a Sixers fan, you're a Steelers fan, you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan. Tell me, it's interesting. It's an interesting breakdown. Obviously, all Pennsylvanias, but you kind of switch from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. How'd you How'd you become a fan of your sports teams?
Both of my parents went to Penn State, so
Yep.
I was like born into it, and I've just always loved like growing up and watching football games with them and like our family friends.
I have the big question for you.
Go ahead.
So how do you, for someone who competes at such a high level in multiple sports, in addition to everything you're doing in your sports, have you thought about what your future might be at the collegiate level?
Yeah, I definitely think I want to swim in college.
Oh, super.
That's cool. That's cool. What else? You think of, what's your track major wise? What do you think you want to do education wise?
Business.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Joby, you got anything else for Eva before we let her go?
Well, I'd be interested, Joe, because as you know, I'm such a physical fitness nut. Eva, dieting and foods and everything has to be crazy for you being a multi-sport and a 12-month a year sports person. What are some of your favorite foods?
I love pasta. I love chicken and rice. And I gotta say ice cream.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, me and my family, we have pasta Sundays every Sunday, so I I can certainly appreciate that. Well, Joby, if you have nothing left,
Well, I of course I have something, Joe.
of course, go ahead.
Eva, so as I mentioned about your dad and I being so close, right?
Yeah.
Did he ever tell you about when he raced against Kadri Ismail in high school?
No.
He never told you that?
No.
Okay, so Joe, going back, funny story. So Eva's a great athlete, right? And
Right.
clearly she got a lot of genes from her dad. But, and I'm going to be bragging here for a little bit. And he's going to get mad at me when he hears this. But so Joe, when you picture an offensive lineman, right, or an outside linebacker, you picture a pretty big human being, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Bobby, her dad Bob, was a very muscular guy. I'm a bodybuilder in high school, okay? He about 215, 225 pounds, okay?
Yeah.
And he was just the most athletic high school football player at his size for our entire league. How he was in all league is one of the great crimes of the century when we were in high school. But that all being said, when Bobby was in the track season, so everybody would see this big giant human being come on the track, and you had to figure he's just warming up, right? He's going to go up to the throws.
Right.
No. Bobby ran the 110-meter hurdles.
Oh my
He
God.
ran the 400, and he ran the 300-meter hurdles. He finished third to Kadri Ismail was, of course, the state champion. He finished ahead of him, and then Bobby was third. And he was the biggest human being running around the track that anyone had ever seen. Joe, he ran the 300-meter hurdles. I kid you not, in under 41 seconds as a 225-pound high school athlete. You just never saw it. So, Eva, I know you're a great athlete, but I have forever said I've never seen anything like that when he used to compete. He was a bulldog. I can tell you stories about us when we were playing back in the day, but he was a heck of a football player too. My goodness gracious. Eva, when you get a chance, have him tell you about when we played Williamsport on the coldest day in the history of high school football.
All right, I will.
Eva, hey, thanks so much for taking the time. Congratulations on that's just a hell of a weekend. Such a unique weekend to, win multiple district titles in different sports. So congratulations to you, and you're not done. So good luck. Good luck in states.
Thank you guys so much.
Congratulations, Eva.
Thank you.
All right, that was our Times-Tribune Athlete of the Week, Eva Kaszuba of Scranton Prep swimming and basketball. First of all, Joby, I'm still amazed at what you're telling me about Eva's father. When you first brought him up, I would have never assumed that he would be a track sprint, hurdle star. But maybe that kind of throws into why, part of the reason why Eva is so good at and multi-talented in her sports because she tells me about, she's telling both of us about balancing swimming and basketball and everything. And honestly, it still doesn't compute in my mind.
No, Joe, I don't know how she does it really. I mean, I know we kind of kid, but when you think about it, you're asking a high school kid to commit a great deal of time.
Right.
And she is exceptional at all of the sports she participates in. Okay.
Right.
But at this time of the year, when it is really the best against the best,
Right.
She may not admit it or she may not want to admit it, but she certainly gets off to a little bit of a slow start in swimming because, she does have a lot of the kids take that early part of the season to get themselves in a real good conditioning phase.
Right.
For what's going to happen here in the postseason. And she really has to balance it. I mean, she has to commit herself to the basketball program, which she has done magnificently. And she has to also maintain that discipline to be a champion swimmer. And it's just amazing. Somebody asked me if I had ever heard of someone trying to pull off what she did just in the regular season. She played a game or she swam in a championship track meet, her swim meet, and then played in a varsity basketball game on the same day.
Right. Right.
So, and that also included a 25-minute drive from location to location.
Right.
So,
right.
And I try to think back, and if I remember correctly, we've had a couple of kids in the track and field season who also doubled up and played baseball, or some girls have played softball and run track, and to the best of my knowledge. And the one athlete I thought who did a really good job was Wayne Lyden from Valley View, Joe. It's a name you may not remember, but he was an outstanding baseball player at Valley View, and he got drafted. He played Major League Baseball with Toronto Blue Jays organization with the Mets, and he was also a champion in the 100-meter dash and the 200-meter dash. So for the track team. So he's probably the closest that I can recall of doing something like Eva did.
Right.
But maybe not in such a close time frame. I don't think the district track meet was around the same time as district playoffs for baseball. So she's fantastic. I mean, Joe, this is a different world we live in. There's so many talented athletes now and so many great teams out there, and she did a great job and certainly deserves our athlete of the week in a week when we had several.
Yeah.
No, really, Joe. I mean, I would say this is the deepest field of athletes of the week candidate we've ever had.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, this was, I get it, like it is really the biggest or busiest weekend of the year. But like you mentioned, the performances were just absolutely incredible. I mean, you look at Jason Casper from Abington Heights Swimming, 2 individual golds and broke 2 district records in the process, and also was a part of 2 gold medal winning relays as Abington won the Class 3A title. That's incredible. It's always a phenomenal performance when I know from witnessing it firsthand. We had West Scranton's Tommy Schechterly at the Northeast Class 3A Northeast Regional Wrestling Tournament, and that is, you're going up against District 11 wrestlers. That's just with all those powerhouse schools. So to come out there with gold is absolutely incredible, and Tommy Schechterly did that. Sydney Schaefer, who we've talked about, Lackawanna Trail Wrestling, she captured the Central Regional Girls title, pinning her opponent in 27 seconds in the Central Regional final, which is absurd. This is kind of, again, she's a freshman, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I don't think it's wrong to say that she's going to be competing for a state title next weekend. So just, and those are just a few So it was,
No, not to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
again, those are just a few of the incredible performances. Derek Williams from Abington Heights was also a 4-time gold medal winner
Yep.
in swimming. You had, online at the Times-Tribune.com, Scott Walsh and myself, we both announced the all tournament teams from the District 2 postseason
Yep.
and championship weekend. You look through those rosters. I mean, it's incredible the performances that we saw over the weekend at Mohegan Arena. And of course, what you and Tom Fox saw on the mats and the incredible performances in the pool. Just an unbelievable weekend, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should mention, I'm sorry, because I didn't write this down because we had already had him as an athlete of the week, but Nathan Schumann of Honesdale won his second straight Northeast regional title in Class 2A, and he absolutely dominated the field. That is, again, I talk about how difficult Class 3A is. Class 2A, going into Williamsport against those strong District 4 kids and coming out on top, not just I don't want to say the word easily, but, he handily won all of his matches, which is incredible. And of course, Hanover area's CJ Canes, who has not lost a match this season, won a Northeast regional title as well in Class 2A. So it's going to be an interesting weekend for me. Be at the state championships for wrestling at the Giant Center on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But yeah, I mean, this, Joby, how was how was this weekend for you? I thought you did an absolutely outstanding job. I think you took video of every basketball game, or at least it seemed that way, updating, social media with interviews, highlight videos. I mean, it was an incredible effort. What was this weekend like for you?
Well, Joe, you first and foremost, I have to give an incredible, I hate to use the phrase shout out, but the staff,
Yeah.
because we had some guys come into some unique situations, some things that they haven't had to face as sports writers. Kevin McConnell up at the Wyoming paper there, the Wyoming County paper, he chipped in and helped give me some relief in swimming because I was so big into the social media part of it, the digital part of the basketball coverage over the weekend.
Yep.
Steve Bennett did a great job covering and helping. He and I split the games on Saturday, and Scotty Walsh, the veteran, he came in and then he went out and did some college stuff for us.
Yep.
On Saturday as well. You and Tommy Fox did a great job with the wrestling, and yeah. So Joe, I really tried. I got to all the basketball games, which was my goal this year, and because I want to do, we're getting this move toward digital, and I want to try to get as much video content as I can get, and some of those reaction things that you get and you're able to post really quickly as opposed to the old school way of getting it the next morning, right? So
Right.
that was a big part of my goal. And then I, of course, had games to cover myself.
Yeah.
So it's funny. Quick story, and then I'll get back to my point. But on Thursday night, I left the arena because I had an early start the next morning with swimming, and I was out in the parking lot as we often do, Joe, work in the parking lot. I don't want to give anybody ideas, but we're kind of,
Yeah.
but I was working in the parking lot, and, that Thursday night game was the Riverside Dunmore game.
Right.
And I, again, have said, and I stated it at the time, that it was the largest crowd I had seen for a District 2 final at the arena. I'm still waiting to hear from somebody from District 2 to give me an official count of the attendance for the weekend. But so, and Joe, you're a big concert goer. I know you like to be in the mosh pits and everything like that.
Yeah.
But you know how what the scene looks like outside of the arena as people are exiting when there's a big crowd.
Yeah.
And so when I went out to my car to start working, there was this parade of lights and cars and everybody. amazing job by the staff at the arena to keep people organized
Yeah.
and getting people out in a pretty organized fashion. And as I was, banging away and typing out the story and editing some video and whatnot, I happened to just take a glance up, and I was the only car left in the parking lot. Everybody was gone, and I was sitting there, and I said to myself, "Boy, you still have, at least another 10, 15 minutes of work to do here."
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've been in that position before too, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Football games and more. But I just found it odd because there were so many cars there.
Yeah.
It started when I was working, and then it was gone. But it was, Joe, I can't tell you how exciting it was just to be a part of the weekend in terms of what we were trying to do in promoting the sports and the athletes. Okay. And we'll go into greater detail on what it was like, but it was a lot of long days.
Yep.
And, I got home around midnight all 3 nights. And yesterday we had to do some wrapping up and some information and, get some stuff done. But it's worth it when you see the kids so happy.
Yeah. Yes.
First and foremost, they're thrilled because they're district champions. And then, I get along pretty well with a lot of the kids, and, I get to know them as they grow up through the ranks, as I'm sure you're building relationships with your wrestlers.
Right.
And so that was a pretty fun part of the weekend as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I to speak of kind of something you talked about, I don't I'm sure the basketball is completely hectic as far as game after game after game, especially on Saturday. But what I appreciate about the wrestlers, I think what is kind of a unique thing for them is that, we're trying to do our jobs, but it's a little tough because, they're just, especially on that first day, they're coming off that mat, and some of them have had really, really tough matches, and they're just like, they're getting off the mat and they're just, breathing heavily and trying to catch their breath after a long match. And here I come just like, "Hey, could you talk to me for a second?" And, they're always, they'll always talk to me, and I greatly appreciate that. But you're right in everything that you said. And it's great to be a part of. I'm glad that we had a winner in Tommy Schechterly from District 2 in Class 3A. We had 3 kids, Gabe and Jake Benyo of Hazleton area and Piston area's Brody Spindler, reach the finals and lose to get silver. So we also had a couple Abington kids. Obviously, we know the name Mason Whitney. He's 2-time state medalist, and him and freshman Brady Full had to, they lost on day 1 to, at least top 3 wrestlers in the state. And it's tough to wrestle back on that next day. You got to win 3-4 matches. I think 3 matches to qualify for states. And if you don't win any of those matches, you're done. Your season's over. So that's a tough proposition. Obviously, Mason Whitney handled it like a veteran, but so did the freshman Brady Full. I was very, very impressed with him wrestling back and getting third. Pretty cool. It's always, you always appreciate these moments too. You kind of, the job is the job, but there was a moment where Crestwood's Micah Engelman, he won his 5th place match to qualify for states. He's a freshman. He'll have some good years ahead of him as well, but he's now in the state tournament. And it's great to see these kids, like you said, just how happy they are. And he was pumped up. He went over, and you always appreciate those moments with the family. He went over and hugged his father, and it's just, gosh, there's just such great things about sports. And that was, that was one of those moments, so I can't wait for states. It's going to be a long day, long 3 days, but it's worth it in the end. just to mention a couple things about the 2A tournament as well, I'm super happy for Justin Scanlon of Honesdale finally qualifying for states after some tough times, breaking his hand as a sophomore and just going through just an absolutely brutal weight class as a junior. He finished fourth. He's making it to states. I had mentioned Nathan Schumann, but Duke Martin as well of Honesdale. He finished second to get to states for the second time. And, I talked to him today. I'm going to do a feature on him. Another funny story, Joby, is that did you see one battle after another? I don't remember.
I did, Joe.
Okay, so you're familiar with the look of the Leonardo DiCaprio character.
Correct.
Yeah, so we did our Oscar movie shoot today, and that is the character that I'm trying to portray. So I shaved the beard into a goatee, and, he's basically, I went from there right to Honesdale to get these features. So I'm like, I've got this goatee and, everything. So I apologize to the Honesdale wrestlers for having to see me in a goatee and a little disheveled, but I appreciate them having me. We're going to have a feature.
No, that's just a normal Monday for you. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, now they know I dress like a bum, but hey, listen, this Honesdale's been absolutely incredible. We've known this, but they finished fourth in the region as a team, and that is a tough region, as I had mentioned. So great year for him. Matt Almedina finished second and is now a 4-time state qualifier, which is an incredible accomplishment. Gavin Morecambe of Western Wayne also getting to states for the first time. He's a 2-time district champ. So that's great for him. And also Blue Ridge's Bryce Woodruff, knowing that he was entering a tough weight class with, CJ Canes at the district level. And he made it to his second straight state championships by finishing fourth. So yeah, it's been incredible. And obviously the girls, mentioned Sydney Schaefer's incredible performance as a freshman. Hayden Manning of Abington, she'll be at states. Kate Pryor of Delaware Valley, Sage Olver of Honesdale, Madison Miller of Honesdale. A lot of great things at Honesdale, like I mentioned, in the wrestling community. So it's gonna be interesting, Joby. It's fun to cover. They're long days, as you're very familiar with, but it's a good time. And, Pennsylvania wrestling, doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, Joe, and listen, you're going to be extremely busy, but you're going to do a great job, as you always do.
I appreciate that. So we'll do our thing. So Joby, what's coming up for you?
Well, Joe, first I want to say, I want to congratulate the kids who I cover all year in swimming. Just to really quick kind of double back with Eva Kaszuba. She was terrific, and Jason Casper was great, as we mentioned, and Derek Williams, who I kind of pointed to. But great performances by a lot of the swimmers. And we can't get to everybody, clearly, in the podcast hour, but Abington Heights boys and girls swim teams, I can't say enough about the fantastic job that this group did the entire season. The boys team, of course, went undefeated in the regular season and really dominated the boys 3A district team championship race with all the gold medals that they were able to win. In addition to Jason Casper winning 2 individuals, Derek Williams won 2 individual events. Jeff Stanton won an individual event. They won 2 relays. They had Michael White win the diving. So it was an impressive performance by the Abington boys. The Abington girls team also won the team championship with, again, great performances by Gianna Vecino. Hadley Paulman was terrific, a gold medal winner. Katie Germansky was a gold medal winner. And again, they won a couple of relays as well. So great job by both of those teams. The Tunkhannock boys won the 2A team championship. Just a terrific performance by them. And if you take a look at the seeds, you'll see that Tunkhannock will have a real good shot at competing for a team championship at the state meet in a couple of weeks at Bucknell University. And of course, we mentioned Scranton Prep winning the girls 2A team title.
Absolutely. And it's funny, Joby. I feel like we've been, breezing through, everything. And I don't even know if we've scratched the surface of anything we need to talk about. But
especially with basketball, Joe.
I was just going to say.
We had 10 championship games at
Yeah.
Mohegan Arena.
Yeah. I mean, we've got, let me just roll through our champions. We discussed a few of them, but in the boys in AA, we've got Old Forge as the champions. Riverside, like you had mentioned, they beat Dunmore for the Class 3A title. Scranton Prep captured the 4A crown. Abington Heights won the 5A crown, and Delaware Valley getting that 6A title. That's great for them. Also in the girls, Mountain View won the Class 2A title. I believe that was a great game that obviously Addison Kilmer led a late charge to get that one. Class 3A Dunmore won that title. In Class 4A, obviously, Scranton Prep captured that title. In Class 5A, Crestwood, and Class 6A, Hazleton area. But yeah, so those are our champions. We have a lot of, I believe the first round of states starts back up on Friday, Joby?
That's correct. Friday, Saturday we'll go.
Great. So that'll be your first round of states. So yeah, it's been busy. It's Joey, I don't know how you do with it, but I'm like, it's funny. People ask me questions like while I'm at wrestling. It's like, oh, how's this team doing? I'm just like, I got to be honest with you, I have no idea. I'm doing my check the website, check Twitter, check.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm focused on wrestling right now. So it's hard to keep up.
It really is, and kudos to everyone involved. And listen, this event at Mohegan Arena takes a lot of people to get this thing off the ground. Okay,
Right.
Everybody who's working, number one, and of course the kids and the teams and the coaches and everybody, and the athletic directors and the District 2 committee that organizes this thing. But Joe, I just some quick bullet points for you. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
In the girls tournament, again, it started off with a great performance by Scranton Prep, beating Valley View, and what has really become a nice little rivalry.
Yeah.
In not only in the Lackawanna Division 1, but in District 2 Class 4A. Both of those teams should do quite well in the state playoffs coming up here, certainly in the first weekend.
Right.
Because they're both two very talented girls basketball teams. It was I've only gotten to see Cora Castellani play basketball twice, and that's usually in the district final. So
yeah.
She's a fantastic player. She did the best that she could to kind of try to rally Valley View late in that game, and Scranton Prep was able to hold off Valley View. What I thought was the marquee matchup of the weekend, and we had some good games as well, but really the Dunmore Riverside round 3 game was fantastic. Dunmore came out and poo-pooed all over the you can't shoot at the arena theory by knocking down 6 of 9 3-pointers in the first quarter and building a huge 12-point lead over Riverside. It was the largest deficit the Vikings had faced all year, but Riverside was able to kind of keep chipping away. A team that has the kind of superstars that they have in Braden Rose, who ended up being in my mind, the tournament MVP. That's why I named him to that honor, and Nico Antonacci. Just terrific performances by both of them, but you have to have some other guys chip in. Mikey Schimmelfennig was terrific at the defensive end, and Riverside was able to come back with really an incredible comeback. And that, Joe, I've only been to the arena a couple of times for hockey matches.
Yeah.
That was a loud venue during that Dunmore Riverside game. It was great. It was a great high school basketball setting, and congratulations to Riverside. And again, Dunmore, it's a heartbreaking loss for them, but again, you got to kind of find the mental recharge, right? So because both teams are going on to the state playoffs, so we'll see how quickly Dunmore can do that, because I really believe both of those teams can make deep runs in the state postseason in 3A. And then we come right back on Friday night. I wanted to also mention, Joe, that we had a Class A girls champion in Susquehanna. Didn't get a game, was the 1A champion. And, the Mountain View, I don't know how Addison Kilmer did it. I know she's capable of playing at the level that she played at in the fourth quarter, but just an amazing 8 minutes of basketball. And she did it with 4 fouls.
Yeah.
And Scotty Walsh picked her as the tournament MVP, and she deserved it. I mean, I really thought, and anybody on press row will tell you, I kept saying, I think Mountain View's cooked.
Right. Right.
Wyoming Seminary played great. Ella Stambaugh was terrific, and just all of a sudden, Mountain View, and Joe, to its credit, Mountain View wins the game, and Aubrey Sanders had a great tournament as well. But Addison Kilmer, in her 4 years now, well, we talk about this all the time. She's a 2,000-point scorer. Okay, she's a 1,500 career rebounder.
Yep.
She's won 4 district championships, 2 in Class A now, 2 in 2A. She has been to a state final in Class 1A, and she's been to 2 state semifinal games. What a career! And we had the pleasure of watching her play again on the biggest stage, and she was terrific. So that was a great game. Hazleton area is fantastic, Joe. I expected that. I only got a chance to see really the second half of that game but just the speed that they play with, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
It really is just incredible. And I expect big things from Hazleton area. Of course, we don't cover Hazleton area regularly, so I don't get a chance to ever see them. But
right.
Well, boy, what a terrific team. Well coached, very aggressive, and extremely talented. And then the nightcap was Crestwood and Abington Heights, the Battle of the Comets.
Yep.
Our good friend and colleague from the Citizens Voice, Steve Bennett, did a great job covering that game. Abington Heights got off to a little bit of a slow start, but Crestwood came out very confident, played aggressively, built a lead, and Abington Heights has that great senior leadership, Jordan Schaefer and Andrew Kettle and Finn Goldberg, and all 3 of those guys were terrific in the second quarter on. I thought Andrew Kettle played just his best game of his career. I don't know, maybe he would argue with me, but I wouldn't want him to do that because he would lose. But that being said, I just thought he was terrific at the defensive end. He led to some steals and some breakaways, which are always cool to watch at the arena. They just have a neat look to them.
Right.
And it was a great performance by Abington Heights again, 4 straight for the Comets in Class 5A. But Joe, the Saturday, there's 5 games.
Yeah.
Okay, and they go one right after the other.
Right.
Dunmore, I think that's the first time, Joe, that we've had a buzzer beater in the district final. We may have had one other one.
Yeah.
I can't remember, back to Scranton Prep, maybe in the girls. But Dunmore rallied down 5 in the last minute of the game against Holy Redeemer, an extremely talented Holy Redeemer team.
Yep.
And Dunmore rallied, and Janiah Martin I was right there, Joe.
I could see it with the photo.
I got the camera. I was right in how I picked the correct spot, I have no idea.
I love it.
Joe, the real challenge is, I look around the arena, and a lot of these young kids who again, their cameras are more expensive than my car. And here I am with my little iPhone.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn how to zoom while I'm videoing.
Right.
But it's been a real challenge for me with basketball. But I was a little too close to her with the zoom, but I got her. And she made the shot, and I had a great scene in the background. You can see Carrie Bowen, Toomey, just going crazy on the sideline with her team. It was awesome. It was a real good get, and you get that celebration. But Dunmore, a great performance from the Lady Bucks there for another district championship. Old Forge was terrific. Joe, anytime you get these kind of cult figures in a big spot, Nick Salerno, he was like the Rudy of the weekend. The fans just loved every time he touched the ball. He scored 14 points. He only had 40 points all season coming into the game. He was awesome. Those are the kind of stories I like to tell after a game. I don't know if anybody read it or not, but it's something I like to tell. Scranton Prep had a big rally. Chicky Scoff, Joe, another sophomore. We have Nico Antonacci, a sophomore. We've got Trey Newton, a sophomore, and Chicky Scoff was incredible. He scored 28 points, a career high. I think he doubled up his career high, for crying out loud, and he played that game at the arena. So
yep,
it's a great performance by him and Scranton Prep in the 4A win. Joe, I got a chance to see Crestwood girls, and I was it was really neat because I had never covered the Crestwood girls probably in 2 years. I think I covered them once against Scranton back in the 5A semifinals. But Kira Doherty reached 1,000 points, and you hear all these stories about how good Crestwood girls are, and they are as advertised. And but a good part about that game also was there was kind of like a little bit of two winners. Clearly, Crestwood was the better team and won the district championship. But it was nice for Ella Clementoni to reach 1,000 points for her career in scoring, so they got to celebrate that a little bit with North Pocono. And then, Joe, we finished it up. I don't know how Steve Bennett's eyes were still open. I mean, my eyelids were closed, and I had to write my story and then come out for the second half. I watched the first half on the monitor in the media room.
Yeah.
Where they had run out of food and beverages, so
right.
We were on fumes at this point. And
believe it.
Of course, the game goes to overtime.
Yeah.
And it was a great game, and Delaware Valley came away with the win. Trey Newton, who could barely walk, his cramps were so bad. He scored 7 points in the overtime, and Delaware Valley won its first District 2 Class 6A championship and first-time winners at Mohegan Arena. So, Joe, and then you have to catch your breath and try to get yourself to drive home.
Exactly.
So it was busy, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, you've said this already, but I do want to, echo that it was an incredible effort by you, by Steve Bennett, by Tom Fox, Scott Walsh, Kevin McConlog, at home.
Our photographers, Joe, they were
photographers. Geez, yeah, I haven't mentioned them yet. Jason Arden, Rebecca Partica, and
Hank was even in action. We dusted him off.
Yep, Sean McKay, Chris Imperiali at home, our boss, piloting it all. And
so that's the most reading he's ever done.
That's right, Joby. That's right. And thanks to Bob Gaetano as well, coming down to the wrestling and ended up getting to every tournament this weekend to give us a few shots. So just incredible effort. It's just amazing to work with the people that I work with. You guys are the best. And
so listen, everybody, put a lot of hours in, but I do want to encourage any listeners out there to the podcast, go to the website. We have got a lot of content there.
Yeah.
It's at Times-Tribune.com. It was extremely timely. We got game stories up within a half hour of the games concluding.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys did a great job of keeping everybody updated on Twitter, X, as they like to call it now, and you did a great job with videos on Instagram. And if you follow us on Instagram or Facebook or X, you got a lot of. It was almost like an avalanche of information at times.
It was.
You kind of look at those timelines and looking back, and you're saying to yourself, "My goodness gracious, we're just pummeling people with information."
Yeah.
But if you get a chance, if you're a sports fan, take a look back, scroll back down through those timelines, and you'll see the great performances. And we did a lot with the video this year, and a lot of social media content. So get on those sites too if you can.
Absolutely. And I do want to say, first of all, you had mentioned it, but Kira Doherty's great. I saw her on the soccer pitch, and some of the things she was able to do were absolutely incredible. And, it's just being able to accomplish what she's accomplished after, losing a season, to injury. And I got to say, just looking at these all tournament teams, and the photo of Janiyah Martin looks eerily similar to Michael Jordan in against Georgetown. It's like the same spot. This is so cool.
So it was such an eerily. You're right. It was just off that mark. And Joe, we've talked. People do struggle shooting the ball at the arena.
Yes.
Whether it be the depth perception or the cold air or the hanging baskets, which they're not used to looking at. Okay.
Right.
But she drilled it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was now, she was a little overwhelmed by the attention. Apparently she's quite shy.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, she's only a freshman, Joe.
Right.
And at at the District 2 championships, apparently there's 300 media members now.
Yeah.
She just got swarmed over.
Oh my God. Yeah.
She had to walk away. God bless her. But she was,
Yeah.
what a clutch shot for Dunmore and the great basketball history that program has. And now she's etched her name into it.
Right.
And only a freshman. So that's cool too. But listen, on top of all the great performances and the joy you see out of those winning teams, it's hard for the silver medal winners.
Yeah.
Okay, now they're all moving on to states.
Right.
Okay, so that's a big part of it. But it's a challenge. So you want to try to get over there because they do have to sit for a team picture, which nobody wants to. And I don't even know why. I have asked this question.
Right.
No one wants to give me a reason. But they all come over there graciously and they do their media responsibilities. And that's a real credit to the coaches and the players to endure that. And, but it is tough for them. But they have a lot to be proud of in their accomplishments as well. And we want to wish them good luck as they try to continue their seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another thing I want to, echo about the wrestlers. You're coming off the mat, with a silver medal. And I know at the moment it doesn't feel like, you're disappointed because you lost the title match. But, to be able to kind of, talk to me after those matches and, I'm super impressed at how, these, all our athletes, but these wrestlers are able to kind of bounce back and, be able to talk about, what probably in the moment feels like a devastating loss, but still an absolutely incredible accomplishment. And you're going to states. So, but other than that, Joby, we were creeping up on that hour. Is there, I think we did the best we could to try to fit everything in, but
yeah, I don't have anything else to add, Joe, sports wise. I just want to say again, great job by everybody, but I also encourage our listeners to check out the Oscar stuff that you and Rebecca have coming up here.
I appreciate that.
Coming up because, Joe, you're big into the entertainment world as well. People don't realize in addition to your concert going, you're a huge movie buff.
Yeah.
And so I want to check it out. And, I don't know what your percentage of getting the picks right are, but, it's got to be better than your high school football grid picks. So So I encourage everyone to check out the Oscar story coming up online.
I appreciate that, Joby. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm screwed this year. I think it's going to be a wild Oscars. And if people are interested and they watch the Oscars, I think there's going to be a lot of, these last few years, it's gone chalk. And I think especially with the SAG Awards last night with, Sinners winning big, they won the big award, which is Best Ensemble for the SAGs, because obviously it's just an actors, and Michael B. Jordan winning Best Actor. So I think that's kind of thrown the Oscars into a bit of a whirlwind. So it's going to be fun. I like when it comes out. I like doing the predictions. I've been perfect the last 2 years, but make no mistake about it, that's coming to an end this year, Joby.
All right. Well, give yourself a little credit there too, Joe.
That's fair. Thank you to Eva Kaszuba for joining us on top of the show, and congratulations to her. Congratulations to all the athletes who had great performances over the weekend. Keep following us, though. It is not done. The winter sports season is not over.
The spring sports season has just begun.
It's just begun. Joby. It's incredible. So, yeah, keep following. Go to the website. There's so much great stuff that came out over this weekend, and we'll keep providing it. The Times-Tribune.com/sports. Follow us on X, at SportsTT. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Times-Tribune Sports, and of course, subscribe to this podcast. The Film Room podcast you can get on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, and of course here on Podbean, where we record every week, or at least we try to. Joby, I know it's, like we said, it's been incredibly busy. I don't want to make it about us, but it's been incredibly busy. So thank you for taking this hour with me again this week. I'm sure